that is affecting my country at the moment. So I want to send from our side our thoughts, our full support, and our sympathy to everybody that is getting affected, all the families and all the individuals, and obviously all the country that is pulling together to try to find the best possible solution in this difficult moment. And from here, I just want to show my full support and ask everybody in the way that they can to support, because it's terrible what is happening. That was all.
Okay, we'll kick off with Jamie from Sky.
Can I start with some team news? In particular, is it good news on Gabriel?
Yes, so we have a training session today. If he can complete that, he will be available. He hasn't had any training session yet, but if he's able to do that today, he will be available in the squad.
And as regarding the others, Calafiori, Ødegaard, I know Ben White was sort of left out of the present game as a precaution. What about those three?
So Ricky and Martin are out, definitely, and with Ben we don't know yet, because he hasn't trained yet. He could not train, he could not get involved, so let's wait and see if he's available or not.
I appreciate it's still extremely early in the season, but with the gap that is starting to open up at the top of the table, is that a concern at all?
Well, you want to be first, you want to win every game. We know the situations that we have to play with this season, but we are right in the mix. We know that the tough challenge that we're going to face tomorrow, but we are fully ready for that.
This trip to St James's Park is almost exactly a year after the last trip there. After that game, obviously, you had some very pointed comments to make about the standard of refereeing. When you reflect on that, do you have any regrets about anything you said, Daddy?
As part of the past and part of the situation that happened, that you learn from it, you take a lot of positives as well, and we moved on.
Do you think the standard of refereeing has improved since then? Do you think your comments worked?
My intention is not that the comments work. I have to say what I feel in the day.
And do you think the standard of refereeing has improved since then? Or?
Yeah, they're certainly trying their best.
Okay, we'll go on to Niv from Premier League.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Good to see you. First of all, about the Liverpool performance, obviously there were a lot of discussion and debate before the game. How are you going to cope with the fact that several key players were suspension and injuries as well? Overall, it was a good performance. Do you think after the Liverpool game you've learned maybe something new about your group?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of things happened that we didn't even plan for them. I was suspecting, with the size of the squad, that we had to be very adaptable in the season, and that's something that we worked from day one in pre-season. But obviously not to be that adaptable, especially in certain scenarios, but for sure the team showed an incredible capacity to compete, to be better than the opponent in many moments. But it's true that in the second half, very early again, something happened that affected the rest, but we are there.
Question please about Ben White. He obviously played in a position, not his natural position. Great partnership with Gabriel. Gabriel went off as well very early in the second half, and that lovely assist to Bukayo Saka. How impressed have you been with what he gave him on Sunday?
Well, that's Ben's quality. You know, he can play in those two positions. Within those positions, he can adapt his role and play in different heights as well, especially in ball possession. So we're demanding, you know, against a very difficult, tricky opponent with very particular duels, especially in that section of the pitch, to do that job when he hasn't played there for over a year. And I think he was really good.
I was wondering what did you make of Newcastle's start of the season? On one hand, we saw them against Chelsea a few days ago in the League Cup, they did well. On the other hand, if you look at their league position, it's not really ideal. What do you make of that?
I mean, the league position after 9 games is very tricky, you know, and when you see the fixtures that they have as well, and some certain situation that they've been through as well. But they are a fantastic team. They are really well coached. They are super intense. Great stadium to play. You know the energy that you're going to face there. So looking forward to it.
Ian Talksport.
Hi, Mikel. How are you?
Very good.
Can I start by asking you about Ruben Amorim, who's going to be joining Manchester United? He's 39. You know what it's like to come into a Premier League, be a Premier League manager of a massive club when you're under 40. You were 37 when you started here.
Yeah, but I cannot talk about these kind of situations.
No, I just wondered what it was like to be a young manager coming into the Premier League.
Fantastic. Great. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Thought I'd ask. It was going to Newcastle this weekend. One of the big talking points after the midweek game was Ethan Wanieri, who you described having a real super talent on your hands. Can you tell us how good you think he'll be and the job he's done in the last 2 years? Because when he made his debut at 15, there was probably a lot of pressure on him to go on and succeed.
Well, I can talk how good he is right now, and at 17 years old to be in the position that he is in one of the biggest clubs in Europe, I think sums up really well the level that he has. What is going to happen in the future mainly is going to depend on him and how much he wants it. At the moment he wants it a lot, and he's surrounded by the right people, and the crystal ball to see what is going to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years. No, my prediction is going to be very positive.
Hi Eddie, good morning. Chelsea the other night, a fantastic result for you, great performance. How much do you feel you all needed the positivity that brought you?
Yeah, I think we did. Really pleased with the response from the players. Wasn't an easy game, was never going to be. But I thought our performance was very good. And thankfully, we got the reward for that performance. 2 good goals, clean sheet as well. So it was a good night.
And the draw has you at home in the quarterfinals, another Premier League team, Brentford. I suppose you just wanted to be at home against possibly anybody. That's the key, St James's Park.
Yeah, I think whenever you go into a cup draw, the home aspect for us is really important. It has been important for a while here. I mean, the environment again on Wednesday was second to none. It was a sellout. There was a really good feeling. Can't thank the supporters enough for that. There was no hangover from recent results. It was really good, and that helped us massively. Now, yeah, we've got a home draw, tough game against Brentford, who are in good form. So we'll look forward to that. That's further down the line. Now we go back to the Premier League.
How much did the performance of a number of players, including those who were brought back into the team against Chelsea, give you a tough set of decisions to make for Arsenal?
Yeah, it was good to see so many players performing well. I think a lot of players that came in did themselves no harm at all. It was good to be able to rotate some of the squad to see the strength and depth that we have in certain positions. I think 3 games in 6 days for us is a challenge, especially early kick-off again. So we're going to have to see how the players are physically, pick a team according to physical well-being, form, and obviously our opponent.
And is midfield particularly difficult for you, given the performance of Sandro Tonali in a slightly different role, Bruno coming on, playing a slightly different role himself, but also Sean Longstaff and Joe Willock coming back into the team and giving you something extra too? Yeah,
I think those players that you mentioned, they're all very, very good players in their own right. And as I say, when you face 3 games in 6 days, I think it's great to have those options. I think it's a tough ask for someone to play all 3 games. In a way, it's not impossible, but it's a tough ask. And are they going to be at their best, absolute best physically in all 3 games? I'm not sure. So to have the ability to rotate and to hopefully everyone enters the pitch feeling in a really good condition. There are a couple of knocks in the squad as well, so we'll have to assess how everyone is today.
Arsenal, it's almost a year to the day, I think, since you played them at home last season, and you got what was a really important result. Controversy from their point of view about the goal. What do you remember about the match?
Nothing. I don't remember the goal. I don't know. No, it was I do remember it being a great atmosphere. Very, very physical game. Very competitive. 2 teams absolutely going at each other in a really competitive way. I thought it was a really good advert for the Premier League. Of course, there was controversy around the goal, and I understand that. But just positive emotions, really, from the day.
Last thing.
Yeah, Arsenal last weekend, by the end of that game against Liverpool, were the walking wounded. I was just looking at the injury list at the bottom there. Gabriel available, Saliba back. But they literally finished with 1 of their regular defenders.
They were like that bit. Do you remember Thriller, the video Thriller?
Yes.
No, show us
that bit.
I can't help
What part is
myself.
that? How does it go
The
again?
dancing bit. You know when the... Not really.
I thought you was going to do it then, did you?
Yeah, I did. I nearly did. And then
I was going to be a background dancer.
Not this week.
We'll save it.
So, having said that, I did think they Yeah, I did think before the game, and we actually even spoke about it, how they were possibly going to get smacked.
Yeah.
Then they didn't. It was a draw against Liverpool. And now this tough game against Newcastle, as we saw there, coming off the break, it's been a tricky one. It's been pretty heated between the two sides.
Yeah, and I feel because of the technical ability of Arsenal, how, in my personal opinion, they're more superior technically than Newcastle are. If Newcastle can make it a physical battle, they're more than in with a chance. Don't get me wrong for a second. I think Newcastle are a very good side as well. They play really nice football. But I do think that if they try to go toe-to-toe on a technical level with Arsenal, they will get sussed out. Arsenal are really, really good. And that's what Newcastle did last time. You see in the clip there, Joe Linton put his body in there, started bullying the players. That's what they need to do. They need to make it an uncomfortable St James's Park for Arsenal. And in my opinion, I think that's how they will find the result in the end.
Yeah, much like they did for Chelsea, because against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the league on Sunday, they lost, and then in the League Cup 4 days later, Darren, they managed to turn around. Okay, it was a change, Chelsea, but they managed to get the victory. And to be fair, at Stamford Bridge, towards the end, they could have gotten an equaliser. It could have been different.
Yeah, it could have been very different. I think as far as Newcastle are concerned, the injury list is so long, and they're key players as well. Botman, Lascelles, Murphy, Trippier, Callum Wilson as well. But the players they do still have available are terrific players. They've won 2 of the last 3 matches at home to Arsenal. They've made St James's Park a very difficult place to come, and they've made it very clear to Arsenal that when you come, you're going to get a fight. You are going to get a fight. Use the word smack. And I think, given the fact that Arsenal dropped points in 4 of their last 7 matches, Arsenal need these points. They've got Chelsea coming up next weekend. They've got to win this game. I think psychologically they have got to win this game, but they know what they got last season with all the controversy, with all of the fallout from the game afterwards where Mikel Arteta lost his head. He was asked about that earlier on today, and he was saying, you know, no, I've learned from that and I've drawn a line under it. But we all know that these things don't.
He said it with a smirk on his face, so you know better than that.
Exactly. And I just think, to your point about how difficult an assignment it's going to be for Arsenal. Sorry. Yes, for Arsenal.
For Arsenal,
I just think that we're going to find out a lot about what is already a very good mentality at Arsenal. We saw last weekend, you said that they were going to be in trouble and they stood up to be counted. The mentality is good, the ethos is good. But can they take it to the pitch? If they got Saka in their forward line, yes. But in defence, without Saliba, they've only won 2 of their last 12 matches. It's going to be key. Without his leadership, can they hold out? I don't know.
For Newcastle, scoring was obviously the problem. That goal they scored against Chelsea, Alexander Isak, was their first goal from open play in over 430 minutes of football.
Wow. I've never gone that long. Can't help myself, Des. I can't help myself. Sorry.
Hey, you got to pick up yourself, man. Got to pick up yourself. What do we think?
They're just getting shot shy. So basically, they're trying too hard to score the perfect goal. And the perfect goal doesn't exist. That's the issue. You know, moments like that, Isak, normally he would open his body up, pretend to shoot one side of the goalkeeper, drag it the other side, because the goalkeeper overcommits himself. They're trying too hard.
Does it become a thing? Is there a certain point, you know, a certain period of time where you've had so few goals that it does become a thing, and then when you're in front of goal, you're not thinking about what you normally would do. You're rushing it.
Yeah, you try too hard, and it sounds silly because you should try your hardest in every game, but you do try too hard. What I did while I was playing is, in training, I would say, right, we do whatever training the manager wants to do, hour and 15, hour and a half, whatever it may be, right? But then once training had finished, I would get a couple of the guys from the youth team or the reserve team, get a youth team or reserve team goalkeeper, and say, right, give me 20 footballs, and 10 of them, I'm going to dribble one-on-one against the defender, get myself in different areas, practice one-on-one attacking. Then I would get a couple of crosses from the left, a couple of crosses from the right, whether it be headers, volleys, or whatever, and then finish off with maybe 3 or 4 penalties. So I'm just getting myself in the right frame of mind, the right mentality, and I'm switching the muscle memory back on again. So I'm not trying to overthink anything. So I know as soon as the ball falls to me in the 18-yard box, I don't have to think, right, do I take a touch? Where's the defence? You're not thinking of any of that stuff. The ball comes, bang, back of the net. Ball comes, bang. Goalkeeper saves it, parries it back out to you, you score on the rebound. So you take all of the thought process out of it and turn it into a natural reaction.
And that's why you never went 430 minutes without a goal
Exactly.
in open
It's easy.
play. I want to, before we move on, a person who doesn't have a problem with scoring goals is Bukayo Saka. 50 for him now.
Flying.
Incredible scoring record for Arsenal. Incredible. Some of the goals that he scored have just been sensational.
Honestly, last weekend, I think, was one of my moments of the season. When he raced clear down the right-hand side, cut inside. You know what he's going to do with that hammer of a left foot, but you just can't stop him. Here's the goal, and here's the way he twisted Andy Robertson and then he just banged it in.
Bodied.
And you know the significance of that goal. Lots of people thought, well, he's had his injury at ring rusty. Could he be maybe not quite ready to rumble? And obviously he proved that he was, and he set up what was a good match. He's going to be a huge asset tomorrow, and he's the kind of player, you talk about him being one of the top players in Europe, maybe even the world. In games like this, when the chips are down and your players are not available, you need someone to step up. He's got to be that man tomorrow.
2-2 draw between Arsenal and Liverpool at the Emirates yesterday, and it was a game that beforehand was being billed as one that Arsenal certainly couldn't lose, but maybe needed to win in order to sort of not quite stay in the title race, but to kind of cement their place in that title race. So what do you think post-draw?
I'll take the draw.
You're so ready to go.
Yeah. Take the draw simply because of the players who got missing. I don't want to make it an excuse. Everybody's got
Who was
injured
missing
players.
at time of kick-off?
Saliba, Calafiori, Odegaard, obviously. You know, I think them three alone were very big for us. So they're going to make a big difference to anything what we're doing. And I think that the way we started the game was very good, especially coming with a Liverpool side that themselves are coming there for this game to be for some reason the measuring stick of to how well they're doing, because this is supposedly the best team that they're playing or whatever it is. But
And again, no Alisson, no Jota.
No Alisson, yeah. And so, you know, they've come, and yeah, it's a good time to play Arsenal, but at the same time, you know, I would have took a draw at the start of it, but the way we played, especially the first half, I thought they played very well, closed down very well. And, you know what I mean, I thought that it was a good performance. Again, we go into that second half where we kind of eased off a bit, and then, you know, Mo Salah, I didn't think had a great game, same with Gravenberch, same with Curtis Jones. I think you just can't give them the kind of time, because they will punish you. But in the end, I think 2-2, I still can't understand that referee's decision with the goal, what was disallowed, but I think 2-2 was fair in the end. I'm sure Liverpool would take it, because Liverpool didn't play their best.
The one thing on that, though, because Liverpool weren't at their best, I agree, I think before the game, a draw would have been good for Arsenal. But once they were up, and if we've been talking about United and Alex Ferguson, the shadow of Ferguson, all show. But someone said to me yesterday that in that situation, if you're going for the title, Fergie United, even with players out, they just smell the win there and get it done. Is that?
Well, the thing is again, you have to win your home games. You can't go on the fact that you've got players missing. Everybody's got players missing. And so why I was really pleased with how it went is because they started it very, very well. And you think, can they keep that up? Obviously, we lose Gabriel. Timber had to come off in the end as well. Saka came off. But, you have to, while you've got the momentum, you have to go for it, because just like I feel that Liverpool would have, at the start of that game, think, well, this is a game we can really have a go at. The way it panned out, this is a game where Arsenal should have maybe had more of a go in. And this is where they kind of went into their shell a bit, and it kind of invited Liverpool on. And I just think the players are too good. They're too good to give them that kind of opportunity.
And that's really what I found weird about Arsenal's performance. I was one of those that wrote them off in that game. I assumed Liverpool would win based off Arsenal's previous performances in the games before. I just didn't think they had enough in attack to deal with them. But when I was watching the game in the first 10 minutes, I was like, wow, this is refreshing. This is Arsenal of last year in many ways, and the year before. And it's almost like you said, as soon as they get the goals, then it's like, okay, let's hold on to it instead of continuing playing the way we was playing.
You know what's scary about Liverpool? When you consider the amount of players that had off days yesterday, Diaz as well. You probably have to say Mo Salah and the guys I mentioned. When Liverpool if they do kind of like get their clasps in and they get them grips in, they're going to be a problem, Liverpool.
I agree.
Because I thought that as much as we backed off a bit, Liverpool were very comfortable with the way it went in the end, you know. Of course, we maybe should have had a goal at the end, I don't know. You know what I mean? I still don't know why it wasn't a goal, but the fact is that Liverpool looked like they weren't really at their full tilt yet, and you know, they still got something out of it.
But I wonder if that's because this is Slot's Liverpool, which is not necessarily the same, or is not the same as Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool.
So you would expect they might be like this all the way through, just
but I wonder if that's a move in terms of the three teams who we expect to be in the title race come the end of the season, with Manchester City, Liverpool and Arsenal, if control is going to be the watchword for all of their performances this season, if we might lose a little bit of the excitement in that.
For City, it definitely seems that way at the minute, especially with the loss of Rodri. I think that they risk less balls, but I don't know if that will change once Kevin De Bruyne is fit, because that's just the way Kevin De Bruyne plays. He will chance those passes.
Let's look at the table then. Let's discuss where we are in terms of the title race. Manchester City, as you can tell by Sean's face, back on the top of the pile. And then it's Liverpool, who are a point back, and then Arsenal, 5 points off City after 9 games.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a worry, because you know what City are capable of doing, but the main thing is that they're still amongst it. We're still in there. Obviously, the Bournemouth game weren't great, but you know, I think that we're still in a good place there.
At the bottom of the table, there's just one team left on 1 point, and that is Southampton. Wolves got only their second point of the season this time around, this weekend rather, and they did it with a 96th minute goal, 93rd minute goal, I think it was, for Wolves to equalise in that one. And you just wonder, now they've come into that more manageable run of fixtures, if that could be something that would help them. We'll reflect on all of that next week when we're back at exactly the same time. But for now, though, thank you very much to Miguel. Thank you very much to Sean, who's here with Manchester City, back where they are extremely comfortable at the top of the table, while Manchester United have sacked their manager as they look to be back challenging once again.